Every client is your only client. Now this video is about our studio philosophy and how we approach every client and every shoot. It's something that I want you all to remember because as photographers, we kind of have these strange tendencies, if you will. And let me give you an example of this. As a photographer, we are tasked to go out and shoot the same thing over and over and over. Now, it doesn't matter your industry, it doesn't matter what type of photography you're doing. You might be a maternity photographer who shoots mothers and pregnant women and newborns and so forth. But if that's your job, you're doing it over and over and over. You might be a wedding photographer doing that over and over and over. I've seen 1,000 first kisses. I've seen all these different recessionals. But what we need to remember is to think of these things from our clients' perspectives, not from ours. So yes, I have shot hundreds of recessionals, but that doesn't mean that they're not important. Every single one of them is just as important as the next one. Imagine it in another way. Let's say that your favorite musician, I'm gonna give a couple examples. I love the Police, they're amazing. I love all music, but my dad grew me up on the Police, Pink Floyd, U2, all that stuff. Is that the right way to say it? He grew me up on? I grew up on those things. Anyway, if I was at one of those concerts, now I'm sure Sting and Bono and all these musicians, they're performing. They have done thousands and thousands of events. They're constantly performing, and it's the same music that they're doing over and over and over. Don't you think they're probably tired of playing the same music over and over and over? Yet, when you go to the concert, you expect that they treat that concert like it's their one and only concert, like you are their most important fan. If they went into it and gave a lackluster performance because they were tired, because they just felt like this was just another show, you would walk away feeling like they didn't appreciate you as a fan. You'd walk away feeling like you wasted your money. And the exact same case is true for photographers. So number 2, I want you to remember that these weddings, these events, a maternity session, a portrait session, I want you to think of those things, especially weddings, as once in a lifetime, okay? Now, what I mean is that no client goes into a wedding expecting to get married again. They don't go into a wedding planning their next marriage. Well, one example. I did once have a client that came up to me, it was like her 3rd marriage, and she was like, you guys did such a beautiful job on my wedding. This is so incredible. When I get married again, I'm definitely using you. And I was like, okay. Anyway, aside from that one client, this is never a thing that clients are thinking that they're gonna be planning their next shoot. Likewise, though, with a portrait session, people might get portrait sessions at different times of their lives. It might be a senior session now, and later on it's going to be a college portrait session, whatever it's going to be. It's still a once-in-a-lifetime event because they are that age, and they are the person that they are at that point just once in their lifetime. Later on when they do portraits, later on when you do those different types of shoots, they're different people. So think of every client, every shoot as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as a unique event. And this brings me to the next point, which is in this philosophy, we want all of our people in our studio to always love our clients. We want them to always talk good about them. We always see their beauty, to do all those things that, well, these are our livelihood. Our clients are the ones supporting us. We shouldn't be at all doing anything that would give a client a reason that they are not our one and only client. Now, what that means is we tell our photographers in the studio that if a client calls you and you're in a meeting with another client, you don't call the client back and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I was in a meeting with another client. That's the exact type of thing that would make someone else feel like, well, I'm not their only client, I'm not the most important thing to them. Instead, never give your clients a reason to think that they're anything but your only client. Number 4 is tone from the top. Now this is for those that are running a studio or want to run a full studio with associate shooters and with a team and so forth. We need to watch what we're saying around our other photographers. Whether it's your second shooter, whether it's a third shooter and so forth. In our studio, we have partners, masters, and associates. What we've noticed is, if a partner says something to the effect of, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired, man, I really don't want to go and shoot this wedding. I need a weekend off. Then that mindset actually transfers to their second shooter, who is one of our maybe master shooters, or who's one of our associate shooters. And then they transfer that mindset down to their second shooter, and then down to their third shooter. And soon enough, we have this kind of spreading cancer in the company where people are not loving their clients. They're not appreciating going out on their shoots. They are not doing the things that they need to be doing as photographers. And if you're not thinking that way, if you're not going into your shoots thinking that every moment is special, if you're not going into your shoots thinking that every shoot is once in a lifetime and that you love your clients, if you're not thinking those things, believe me, it will absolutely impact the images that you are creating because you're not thinking with the right mindset. So tone from the top was incredibly important for our company. Next, one thing that's going to help you out is just to remember that creativity and challenges are going to help to prevent burnout. Yes, I've shot certain locations hundreds of times. This is one of them. This is a location out in Laguna Beach, and I've literally been to that beach no less than 200 times, photographing couples, weddings, portraits, maternity, everything. But going into it, looking at the client's mood board, and then based on their mood board, choosing different angles, different lighting solutions, and different everything to come up with your images is going to help to kind of push your creativity, and it's going to help to prevent burnout. So an example of this is literally the exact same spot. The clients are standing in all three of these images about 15 feet apart from each other, okay? This is an angle bottom up with the sun. We have 3 Photix Metros lighting up the couple. Again, these are techniques that we teach in Lighting 101, Lighting 201, Lighting 301. These are actual some of the images in those. So here's the image that we get. It's beautiful, it's dramatic. Again, this is me standing about 100 feet away with a 7200 zooming in, same spot. I didn't need to go any additional lighting in this case because I'm shooting with the direction of the sun. We still get a beautiful dramatic image, but this time it's without flash and it still has this gorgeous feel. It's a different angle, a different look. Same spot again, this is with a shutter drag. We have the camera placed onto a MePhoto tripod. We're using a Tiffin neutral density water white filter to cut down light. And we're slowing the shutter speed down in the middle of the day, getting this shot with the water all misty. And it's a completely different look than the other shots. Every one of these is a different look and a different image. So these are ways that we can deliver an epic image. Like for example, all 3 of these clients chose epic images from this location that they absolutely must have. We created epic images in all 3 of these shots using different techniques, and that's how we help to kind of keep ourselves and keep our creativity up and prevent ourselves from being burned out. Next, I want you to do one additional thing. And this is probably the most important of all these things, and that's to see the beauty in everybody. This goes along with loving your clients. It goes along with understanding that each of these moments are special, that each of these shoots are once in a lifetime. The whole purpose of that is if you yourself can't see the beauty in somebody, then how are you going to be expected to photograph it? How are you going to be expected to bring it out? Now, I could give you so many examples of this, but let me just talk about a recent example. Because recently, this past week, I had the opportunity to photograph kind of the closest thing that I have to a little sister. I had the opportunity to be her photographer. Now, I've always thought of her as beautiful, but she's grown up in a kind of traditional Asian household, and I've grown up in the exact same household, and you don't necessarily often hear that you're beautiful. Everyone wants to be humble, and they want to not keep basically praising each other like that. So she's kind of grown up with this self-perception that she's not beautiful, that she's not pretty. And that's like a lot of us. We grow up with that perception. Or maybe there's certain things about us that we're unhappy with. It could be our weight, it could be our skin, it could be whatever it is that we are self-conscious about. I started photographing her and we created absolutely amazing images with her. And I was showing her how to pose, how to stand, how to walk, how to do all those things. And she would see these images and she would say things to me like, I didn't know I could be beautiful. I didn't know that I had those curves. I didn't know I could look like a woman. And I was blown away because those pieces of beauty, her beauty has always been there. I didn't do anything other than just simply show it through a photograph. Now, when you walk up to a client, if what you see when you see a person is somebody that's 300 pounds and overweight, how would you photograph them as anything but 300 pounds and overweight? If that's your mental perception of them, then you're already going to be fighting an uphill battle. But if you can look at people and you can see the beauty and look past everything else, you can see how truly beautiful every single person is, and it's going to help you in your mindset, it's going to help you in your images. You're immediately, starting right now, with this change of your perception, you're gonna be creating better images. I guarantee that. So what I wanna say is that photography is light. You understand that, and the world is gonna open up to you as a photographer. But beauty is in everybody. You understand that, and the world will open up to you as a human being. And you'll be able to capture images, not as a photographer, but as a human being. One of my good friends, Jerry Guiones, he said it best. I'm not even gonna try and say it better than he did. If you wanna be a better photographer, be a better person. And that's the final tip that I'm gonna give you in terms of helping your clients to feel as if they are the most important thing in your world.